I'm Mark Venz, and right now we are in the outback of Western Australia looking for a truly bizarre creature, and it's covered in razor sharp spines. Let's just say catching this one, it's gonna hurt a little. This creature is just as shy as it is sharp, so first we have to track one down in this huge forest, which also happens to be home to another one of the rarest and most endangered animals on the planet that we're also trying to find by the end of this video. But in order to catch this giant spike ball, we're going to need to look for clues. Oh yeah, right there, check that out. This is a termite nest. This will be a perfect feast for the creature that we're after today. That tells me we are on the right track. Let's keep searching. Our second clue is that these creatures love to hide near trees and stumps, so that's where we're spending the most time looking. The problem is, this forest is full of hiding places. This is like looking for a needle or a big pile of needles in a giant haystack. After hours of searching, we got lucky with the discovery of a final clue. That is a good sign right there. That's some poop from the creature we're after. You can see all the ants and termites in here. That means we're getting close. Oh, right there. That's an echidna. Look at that. Oh, yes! That is what we have been looking for all morning long. That is Australia's spikiest creature, the echidna. And it is, yeah, wow, that is sharp. Okay, the echidna from the top is a tank riddled with spikes and a super tough skin. But underneath the echidna is a soft belly. And I'm gonna try to work my hand underneath this animal so I can present it to you. This is probably going to be a challenge. Let's see if I get my hand underneath. Ready? Come here, buddy. It's okay. And he's just wriggling in there. Ah! Oh, he's spiky. Ah, he's getting me. Now, unlike a porcupine, their spines can't release, but they are super sharp nonetheless. Ow! Okay. Okay, he's really wedged in there, guys. This is gonna be tough. Ah! Yeah, I'm getting nailed. All right, I'm gonna have to use some gloves here. There's no way I'm gonna be able to pry out this echidna. It is basically puffing up its body, using its spikes to wedge itself into this stump of the tree. All right, here we go. Luckily, I always carry a good pair of gloves with me on every adventure. There we go. I wanna get to the underside of the echidna that is much softer, and that should allow me to hold it for the scene. But I'm gonna have to do this really carefully. I'm trying to like work under all of the different spines. There we go. Okay, now these spines are nothing more than modified hairs, so this isn't hurting the echidna at all. It's only hurting me. Ah! Oh, you're sharp. Ow! Poked right through the glove. Okay, I've got the underside. Got the other side, this is good. Okay, I think I feel his foot. Ow! Oh gosh, you were really, getting spined so bad. Okay, all right, I'm underneath him. This is good. The underbelly is so much easier to contend with. All right, got him. I've got the echidna. We got one, guys. That is the echidna. Hello! All right, let's go this way. I see an opening over here, this will be perfect. So I think for the echidna to be most comfortable, it's gonna mean a little discomfort for me. I'm gonna attempt to take my gloves off to do this scene, not only in hopes that the echidna will be more comfortable and will show us that beak, but also as to show everyone why you should never pick up an echidna. Oh boy. Hello. This animal likes to hide by wedging against the nearest object. In this case, it's my foot. Gotta get to the soft belly part. Oh, so sharp. Come here. Every time I try to pick him up, his spikes break under the skin of my fingernails. Come on, Knuckles. Anybody who is a fan of the Sonic the Hedgehog video game definitely knows Knuckles the Echidna. And you are tough as nails, Knuckles. Yeah. Hey, buddy, I'm gonna put you on my knee, if that's okay. It's going through my pants. Knuckles! Oh my gosh, it's so sharp. Okay, you are the spikiest creature I have ever held with my bare hands. Oh my goodness. Okay, This animal from the top side is almost bulletproof from any predator. Not only does it have these sharp spines, but the top hide is very tough. Now, on the underside of the echidna, there's very soft underbelly along with its face. Hopefully, this echidna will get comfortable enough with me today to show its little face because it is super adorable. I'm trying to make it as comfortable as I can. As discomforting as it is for me, I want to show you that adorable little beak, the face of the echidna. Come on, buddy. I'm just gonna hold it here and try to be silent. Try to be silent! Oh my gosh. It's poking his nose at me. Come on, come out, say hi. Oh, I think we're gonna have an appearance of the echidna beak. Hi. Hello. Come say hi. Oh, I can see the eyeball. Come say hi. No, that's a no. Door slammed. There we go. Give it a shot. Show us your cute little mug. Try to be quiet. Fight through the pain. Because I want you to see the face of the echidna. Come out and show us. Show us the face. Here he comes. Can you see it? Oh, there's the snout. Guys, get the shot. Hi. How are you? I'm not doing good. I hope you're doing well, though. All right, guys. That is the beak of the echidna. And it has been very painful to get on camera. You little spike ball. Okay. So you can see the boogery nose there. These animals just recently were discovered to be able to regulate their body heat by blowing snot bubbles on their nose. Oh man. Okay. Just gotta work through the pain a little bit. So an echidna feasts on a diet made up completely of ants and termites. In fact, this animal also has some of the best hearing of any animal in Australia, and it's so sophisticated, they can actually hear the termites and the ants crawling underground, which is why we have to be so quiet. It's so sharp. It is so sharp. And now, compared to the hedgehog, an echidna weighs a lot more. I would say this echidna is in excess of 10 pounds. And just the weight alone, makes it super sharp, and its spines, its spines are so sharp, guys. Okay. Now, if you get a shot of that foot, you'll notice that it's actually backwards. That is a very unusual trait. A lot of times when people are tracking echidnas, they will actually follow them the opposite direction because of the fact that those hind feet are flipped in the opposite direction. These animals have long claws on the back of their feet that are primed for digging, and the echidna has the ability to dig in. And a lot of times when you see these in the environment, they are literally just a ball of spikes. In fact, the only predator that really targets the echidna here in Australia is the feral invasive fox. They'll actually pee on the back of these animals and get them to flip over to expose that soft underbelly. From the top, the echidna is almost bulletproof. From underneath, they're a little teddy bear. And that's why it curls up into a ball, just like this. All right. Look at that face. Ow, you hurt me. You hurt me so. Okay, put him down. Definitely drew some blood. That is like wildlife acupuncture. I do not recommend it. It's time to put our echidna back where we found it. And honestly, I'm not sure who's happier about this, me or the echidna. My hands are on fire right now. Ouch. With the echidna safely back in its tree and my hands throbbing in pain, it's now time to track down one of the rarest animals on the planet, the numbat, one of the last living relatives of the now extinct Tasmanian tiger. Most of the remaining numbats in the world live in Dryandra National Park, but Dryandra is completely surrounded by farmland, trapping the numbats inside. This forest is really the last place we can find them. Spotting one is going to be really challenging because they blend into the landscape perfectly. Luckily, just like the echidna, numbats feed on termites, so we know we're on the right trail. We searched the forest really hard for over 6 hours without a sign of anything. It was a ghost town, but just when I was thinking about giving up for the day, I noticed something furry running through the bushes. Oh my gosh, that's him. Oh my God. There he is. Found one. I got him. I'm filming a numbat. He's looking right at me. I can't believe it. Wow. This is one of the last numbats on the planet. Numbats are a critically endangered species with less than 1,000 left in the wild. Places like Dryandra National Park in Australia are so important in protecting species like this from going extinct. And that's why it's important that this forest remains standing. This has to be one of the rarest animals I've ever filmed. What's he doing now? What's he doing? No. Is he trying to crawl inside? No way. Never gonna fit. Ha! Look at his little legs go. He can barely fit. Is he gonna make it? Oh! And there he goes. The thorny devil is like a living sculpture, and some rumors say it is so sharp it can actually draw blood when you try to catch it. So if we're lucky enough, we're gonna put those rumors to the test. Let's get searching. They live exclusively on a diet of ants. Because of that need, if you find an ant mound or an ant line, there's a good chance there's a thorny devil somewhere in the vicinity, so we can then create a perimeter and start really scanning the area. These are masters of camouflage in this environment, so you really need to narrow it down to a sweet spot. So sharp. This is definitely thorny devil habitat. Everything out here is spiky. Especially this plant right here. This is like little razor blade leaves. Gonna keep an eye out for that one as we search for this creature. Here we go. This is a good indication. You see that line in the sand right there? That's an ant track. You can actually see a few tiny, tiny ants making their way back to their nest. But this is great, guys. We've got the sandy environment. We found the food. Now it's time to find the devil itself. What I'm looking for now are either foot tracks or the outline. It has a very distinct contrast with the rest of the environment, the outline of the tail and the horns on the front. And that's what I'm gonna be scanning for along the ridges and along the bush lines. Luckily, the thorny devil is not very fast. You can see why you have to be such a specialized animal to call this your home. Humans would not do very well living out here. Oh, I see one. Got one. We got a devil. Oh, yes, yes, we got one. Oh man, this is the coolest lizard on the planet, guys. Oh my gosh, I am so excited right now. I cannot believe we found a thorny devil. Look at how cool this little dragon is. This is one of the top targets out here. And unlike their cousins in America and Mexico, the horned lizards, these guys are actually super spiky. And you see it puffing up its body and pushing those spines out. That is one of its defense mechanisms. And I could tell you that if you were to grab onto this thorny devil without knowing that it was sharp, you would get a handful of spikes. Look at how cryptic the color patterning is. This animal is superior at camouflage in this environment, from the sand that's demonstrated in its arms to the foliage and the yellow leaf litter. This animal is perfectly designed for this habitat. And you can see that I'm not really doing much to keep the animal here with us. They're very docile and slow moving. In fact, they use their tail as a balance to step forward. They're almost like a chameleon, and they'll do very cautious steps. So look at that, just in a matter of minutes from presenting this animal, it's already changed its color to a much more vibrant yellow on the back. And that's probably because the sun is really starting to come out today. And like most lizards, it is ectothermic. The more heat it absorbs in its body, the more energy it's going to have. And it certainly has earned its name, the thorny devil. It is extraordinarily sharp and spiny. And it is covered from the tip of its tail all the way to its fingers and sharp spikes. Andrew, stick your finger out there. Tell me what that's like.
Wow, it's like prickers.
It's literally as sharp as the thorns on a rose. Just because it has these defense mechanisms doesn't mean that this lizard doesn't have any predators. There are animals out here that would make a meal out of a thorny devil, including species of hawks and, of course, the predatory goannas, the giant monitors that live in this country. So that's where this animal will rely on its superior camouflage to blend into its environment, to not give its location away. It also has another unique defense mechanism. You see those two horns right at the neck? That is a false head. And in a defense situation, the thorny devil will tuck in its head, offer up that false head to any would-be predator so it has a chance to escape if attacked. So let's see if we can actually get it to do that. Offering that false head up. That is a great display. All right, let's pick it back up. Gosh, those spikes are sharp. Ah, oh, did you see him right there try to horn me? Ah, okay. Let's calm down. Let's calm down. I thought we had an agreement. We were gonna do this scene and I was gonna put you back, trying to show everybody how cool you are. There we go. If you ever wanna see one in person, you have to come here to one of its native ranges. Right now we are in Western Australia, but the range extends all the way to the center of the continent. But it lives in this specialized desert terrain, feeding on ants of a particular variety. Now, when I say feeding on ants, I should say feasting on ants. This little lizard has the ability to eat up to 3,000 ants a day. It will eat up to 1,000 ants in a single meal. And because of that, it actually is said that they are super intelligent. They have the ability to track through their environment to locate different colonies of ants, and they make sure that they don't overpredate any specific colony. They want to be able to come back to the food line to get another meal when they need it. These animals all have a very unique color pattern. You see underneath there? The patterning on the belly is like an individualized fingerprint for these lizards. So scientists will actually take photographs of the underside of a thorny devil so they can study the populations in any given area. And this one is super cool. It's very reticulated, almost like tiger stripes. Ah, so sharp. Ah, hang on. Ah, in addition to being super spiky, it has another very unique mechanism that has developed for life out here in the desert, and that's the ability to drink using its feet. Now, I've heard that if you actually pour water out and place a thorny devil in a small puddle, you can witness this happening. So we are going to try to demonstrate that for you right now. I've got a little water here. All right, let's see. Look at that. See all that moisture? Definitely have water coming up the back. I can see it on the neck. It's probably hydrating its eyes. And if we stay here long enough, it would actually be able to siphon some of that water into its mouth. But that is so cool. So those scales are adapted to be able to suck up moisture from the ground to keep this lizard hydrated. It's hard to believe, even holding it here in my hand, seeing it move, seeing it look at me, I'm almost in disbelief that this is even a real living thing. And for those of you who've been watching to see if the thorny devil is indeed sharp enough to draw blood, well, here you go. I mean, it is spiky. It's like holding the thorns of a rose. So I'm gonna do this delicately. Ready? Ah, you're spining me. Yep, it's wriggling around and it's so spiky, but I think the verdict is in. I do not think the Thorny Devil is sharp enough to draw blood, even though, ow, he's spiky. Definitely does not feel good when it tenses up those spines, ow. From its defense mechanisms and the spines and the false head to even the way that it drinks. How cool was it to come across the real dragon of the outback, the Thorny Devil. It's time to dive the sugar wreck. It's pretty shallow, but we're gonna get a lot of bottom time. Dive her down.
Upon entering the water, we saw the wreckage right away. Long metal panels and ribs of the hull scattered the sea floor. Not much was recognizable, that is until we saw the anchor. Judging by its size, this was one massive vessel. And of course, along with the ship, was an abundance of fish. The fields of debris were absolutely cloaked in a cape of marine creatures. Schools of snapper and yellow grunts made up the majority of the fish surrounding the site, but on closer inspection, we were able to identify angelfish, filefish, pesky invasive lionfish, and we even found a large conch. Have you ever seen their eyes before? Whoa, how crazy is that? And of course, no dive is complete without a good shark sighting. One particular reef shark became very interested in us. Actually, maybe a little too interested. Watch out, buddy. But like every adventure, we were on the lookout for something special. Anytime we have cameras in our hands, we're always looking for something that intrigues us, something that truly stands out from the crowd and almost makes you point the lens in its direction. And you never really know when that's going to happen, but when it does, filming gets really exciting. Suddenly, from under the wreck, I spotted a small porcupine fish. What a cool creature. These little guys have so much personality, I had to try for a closer look. But as soon as I got closer to the spiny fish, it floated out into the open and began to slowly head to another part of the site. But not too quickly. Just a slow, gentle cruise in another direction. And for some reason, I felt as if it wanted me to follow it. Don't ask me why, but this moment reminded me of one of my favorite scenes from the Disney movie, The Sword in the Stone. The one where young Arthur follows Merlin around the lake after they both turn to fish? Yeah, that one. So I thought, let's see where this goes. And just as I had hoped, the little fish was leading me right towards something much bigger. As we cruised together across the wreckage, I lost sight of Mario and found myself on a side of the wreck we had not yet explored. The debris here was much larger and more cavernous. The cracks in the wreckage were deep, and its contents were hidden from sight. Then suddenly, and without warning, the fish dove into a crevice, and in an instant, it was gone. To be honest, I felt a little let down because I'd hoped we'd take a rest so I could get some better footage. And so had Mario, who at this point had caught up to us and had actually been following along the entire time. We both looked back toward the hull fragments where our new friend had disappeared. And then, out of the shadows, emerged a truly giant porcupine fish. It was huge. I couldn't believe my eyes. Never before had I seen one so enormous. But, to my amazement, there were actually more of them. One by one, they popped out of hiding to inspect us and say hello. In fact, before long, I realized that we were completely surrounded and absolutely being swarmed by huge porcupine fish. What luck! Not only would we be able to get some amazing footage, but we were also about to witness some unique behaviors. Porcupine fish, also known as blowfish, inhabit tropical waters and reefs all over the world. Not to be confused with their cousins the pufferfish, porcupine fish can easily be distinguished by the visible spines covering their bodies. They do tend to be primarily found amongst reefs, and in this case, shipwrecks, and feed on a variety of hard-shell invertebrates like urchins, crabs, mollusks, and shrimp. Their beak-like mouths are specifically designed for these kinds of prey. And of course, their most famous trait, when agitated, is the ability to inflate their bodies and erect their spines outward to fend off any would-be predators. But the spines themselves are not venomous. And while impressive, we hopefully wouldn't be seeing any of these displays today because our goal was to remain in the presence of the fish and disturb them as little as possible. However, I must say, these spot-fin porcupine fish were by far the largest ones we had ever seen. And one of them was particularly huge, and also very dominant. It was almost the size of a watermelon, if you could believe it. My guess is we had stumbled upon a colony of porcupine fish and were observing some courtship behaviors. But the fish themselves did genuinely seem curious about us and our presence. Almost like you'd expect a dolphin to behave, the fish were surprisingly playful. They would swim up and almost invite contact. The experience was absolutely surreal. In general, I would never advise anyone to make contact with a reef fish, but this circumstance was clearly special, and since I was wearing gloves to protect both myself and the fish, I gently reached out my hand and they got even closer. In fact, they got so close, they would almost make one actually made contact with me. I couldn't believe it. Like a puppy, it seemed to enjoy brushing its belly and head against my glove. This was by far the most unexpected interaction we could have ever predicted. And it wasn't just one either. They all began to join in. I was literally palling around with a school of porcupine fish. After about 10 minutes of enjoying each other's company, our air was beginning to run low, so I gave Mario the signal, we both said our goodbyes, and headed back toward the boat.
That was sweet! Woo! Let's get dried off. The stonefish is notorious for having the most painful sting in all of nature, and today I'm going to get stung by a stonefish. But first, we've got to find one. Let's get looking.
It's going to be very hard to find the stonefish because in addition to their legendary sting, they are masters of hiding.
The key to this is going to be to move slow, methodically, and to not step on the stonefish.
You could be looking right at a stonefish and not even realize it. And that's why so many people step on them by accident. But stonefish aren't all we have to look out for.
This isn't the only animal that could do you harm here in the tide pools off of Australia. We also have cone snails and the blue ring octopus, one of the most lethal creatures in the world.
And not only is it risky just being out here, but we also have to beat the clock. The tide is coming in fast, and this whole area is about to be completely underwater. So if we want to catch a stonefish, we need to do that before it happens.
Everything looks exactly the same. This is gonna be tough. Oh, right there. You see it moving? That is the stonefish. And I never would have seen that fish if it didn't give itself away by moving. Holy smokes. Now these fish are so toxic, they don't really have a flight response. I'm gonna attempt to catch the most toxic fish in the world with my bare hands. All right, here we go. Wow, there it is. That is the stonefish. Look at that tide pool monster. I can't believe we found one. I mean, it looks like a living rock. I never would have spotted this fish if it didn't move. The fact that it swam a little bit there is the only reason I was able to catch this fish. And you can see how docile this fish is. It knows just how toxic it can be. Wow. But the table is set for what will be likely the worst sting I ever take. Placing the stonefish in the tank hit my nerves hard. I'm about to get stung by a stonefish. Stonefish stings are said to be one of the most painful experiences a human can endure, and I've already experienced my fair share of fish stings. One from the most common fish sting, which is the lionfish. Oh, and the other from the scorpion fish, which is the most toxic fish sting in North America. Oh, yeah, he got me. Oh. Each sting was painful, but I was certainly able to tough it out with basic treatment. However, each of those fish fall far short of the danger from the stonefish. Not every day you get to carry around the world's most toxic fish in a tank. This fish might just have the worst sting in the entire animal kingdom. Man, my nerves are firing right now. Just looking at this fish is so incredibly cool. Look at all the growths all over its body. Definitely earns its name, the stonefish, a master of camouflage. All right, let's go hands-on once again with the stonefish. The reason I can handle this fish is because it can only sting from the spines on top. Wow. This fish has developed the most potent fish toxin in the world. The toxin is only to defend itself. Unfortunately, as you can see, it is so docile that it's very easy for people to step on these fish. And that is the most common way people are stung by the stonefish. The toxin of this fish not only induces extraordinary pain, it can actually cause muscle spasms and eventual paralysis. And there have even been reported deaths from stonefish stings. But now I think it's time to see how this fish injects its venom. I'm going to just pour out this water. I'm gonna use this little tank here as a platform. This fish is perfectly fine being out of the water for extended periods of time because they've adapted the ability to actually hold water in their gills. It's not uncommon to see stonefish just laying on the rocks in these tide pools. So in the little bit of time that we have it here in front of the cameras, totally fine. All right, so I brought with me a piece of neoprene. I'm going to use this piece of neoprene to simulate skin so I can show you what would happen if you stepped on the stonefish. This animal has the ability to fire its venom into the wound created by its spine. That's why people who are envenomated and step on these stonefish end up in such a bad situation. It's not only that it's the most toxic venom, it's that you also get the most volume. Look at how sharp that spine is. Okay, in order to do this properly, I do need to get out some eye protection, so I'm gonna do that quickly. This venom, it has enough toxin in it to cause vision problems and perhaps even blindness. All right, let's see in slow motion how these spines inject venom. I'll do these top two, guys, ready? Here they go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, wow. Look at that. And it's like blue. Holy cow, look at how much venom just came out of that fish. And let's do another one. Do that one more time. Oh my gosh, guys, the spines are blue. And once those spines are out, they stay out and they're ready to defend. All right, let me try these spines on the back here. 1, 2, 3. Wow, that is what would be inside of your foot if you were to step on a stonefish. Now, it will regenerate its venom. This doesn't hurt the fish at all. And you can see these sheaths will just slide right back up. But holy cow, I gotta take a minute and process what I just saw. Oh, that is bad. I won't lie, I'm getting pretty nervous right now. This is something you should never do. I've consulted experts, people who have been stung. I've done my research, I've done my homework, but even still, I am extremely nervous about what is about to happen. It's said that this is the most painful sting in the world. Wish me luck. The moment has come. It's time to be stung by the world's most toxic fish. I am borderline terrified. I've thought long and hard about whether or not to even go through with this, but I'm doing this today because through my research on the stonefish, I have found a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of stories that pretty much describe certain death if you're stung by a stonefish, and that's just simply not the case. While this toxin in the base of its spines is extremely potent, it is thermolyable. So if treated properly and if needed with medical attention, you will survive the sting of a stonefish. Most of the victims that end up dying from stonefish stings, but has more to do with the pain and shock that leads to cardiac arrest. This venom is meant to cause you pain, but I have brought the antidote with me today. A thermos filled with hot water that's around 114 degrees Fahrenheit, a compress to hold over the wound, and then of course, if I do go into any state of anaphylactic shock, I always carry with me an EpiPen. We are about 3 minutes drive from an emergency room, so even if the worst case scenario does unfold today, I should have plenty of time to be able to get to emergency medical attention. All right, my plan today is to take a microdose of stonefish venom. The venom from that neoprene trial is already coating the spikes, so they are locked and loaded, ready to go. When it's all said and done, this should be just extraordinarily painful for me and hopefully very educational for you. This is going to likely be the worst sting that I ever take. I'm Mark Vins, and I'm about to enter the sting zone with the stonefish, the most toxic fish in the world. All right, I'm gonna go with this front spine here. Ready? This spine. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Ah! Yep. I already feel a burn. I could feel it spreading up my finger right now. And it does not feel good. Wow, the tide is coming in. All right, here, let's, hang on. Let's move out of here, the tide's rolling.
You okay, Mark?
Yeah, hang on, I'm gonna come over here. Andrew, put the fish back in the tank, man. Oh, right there is where the spine went in. God, immediate fire, spreading up my fingers. I can already feel it in these 3.
Do you help, Mark? Are you okay?
No, I'm okay right now. It's like a different magnitude of pain. It is like throbby, achy. Hang on, I gotta walk it off. Yeah. I'm gonna try to tough it out for a little bit. I wanna see how far the venom spreads before I start applying the first aid. This is borderline unbearable. Oh my gosh.
Let me know when you need the water, Mark.
I'm just like, it's making me nervous. Oh my gosh. Yeah, definitely drew a little bit of blood. Oh, and it is hot. It's like closing my hand is becoming hard. Yeah, it's spreading. It's like all up the back of my hand now. I think I need to go for the hot water, guys. I don't want this to spread anymore. I'm going to hot water. There we go. Stonefish is good. Now, I need to fix myself. So this hot water will actually stop the venom from working and should help my pain. Every bit as painful as advertised. I never want to do that again. And I need to get more hot water on this sting. And hopefully the pain subsides, but it's still increasing for me. Tingling pain continued to build and spread up through my shoulder all the way to my neck. Even a month after the sting, I still have numbness and tingles in my fingers. The immediate pain wasn't enough to send me to the hospital, but as we released the stonefish, I could imagine what would happen if a full load of its venom were to go in my foot. That instance would send you directly to the hospital. And if you're ever stung, please, you should seek medical attention as soon as possible. Needless to say, the stonefish certainly lives up to the legend of being the most painful fish on the planet. Welcome to the Sonoran Desert, one of the harshest environments in the continental United States. This terrain has become a staple for brave wilderness. From the Gila monsters to the tarantula hawks, even the plants are out for blood. In fact, that's exactly why we're here. Ah, yes, here we go. The jumping cholla in all its glory. Now, there are over 30 different species of this segmented cacti that inhabit North and South America, and they all have different names. This one, I could tell right away, is none other than the teddy bear cholla. But I will warn you, this plant is definitely not soft and cuddly, so you don't want to give it a hug if you're out here in the Sonoran Desert. Now, if you take a closer look at those spines, you'll notice that they are pointing in nearly every direction, almost like some kind of geometric nightmare. Oh, but it gets worse. On every single spine is a characteristic called glochidia, which are small bristles with backward-facing barbs. This microscopic feature makes the choya difficult to remove once it is adhered to any surface or unlucky passerby. Now I know what you're thinking. Are these plants just plain evil, or is there a method to their madness? Well, as it turns out, each and every single segment of this plant is a potential seed for the next offspring. They've adopted what's called vegetative reproduction. But what's with this name jumping choya? Their name is a bit of a myth. It comes from the idea that the plants actually have the ability to jump at their would-be victims. However, that's not the case. But what they can do is fall. So a good gust of wind or vibrations in the ground can cause the segments to fall, especially in the dry season. And at this point, I want to show you guys the methods to remove a choya plant from your body. But let's be honest, you've seen this before. Yeah. Today, it's my turn. And in order to show you the right ways to remove a choya, I'm gonna need to get myself good and spiked up. So the team and I have decided to create the ultimate choya challenge, also called the sharpest maze in the world. And if you look right behind me here, you'll notice there's a lot of choya. In fact, not just choya, there's all kinds of spiky, nightmarish plants. These are things you would never, ever want to walk through. But here's the deal. If you were to go all the way to the end of the maze, over 100 yards, you would find a table. What's on this table, you might ask? Well, it just so happens to be my favorite dessert of all time. The delicious, the scrumptious, the completely irresistible red velvet cake. And this one just so happens to be made from my favorite bakery in Los Angeles, Baker's Lane. So, trust me, I really want to have that dessert in the desert. But here's the deal, in order to get it, I need to make my way through this maze in under 2 minutes. And the kicker is, I've got to do it while being blindfolded.
Actually, Mark, I thought the blindfold might be a little too easy to see through.
Huh?
So I got you these blacked out goggles instead. I'll take that bandana from you.
I could work with this, okay. I really want that cake. All right, folks, here it goes. If you've ever wanted to see a human pincushion, stick around for the next few minutes. This is about to get crazy.
Alrighty, folks. Looks like we got ourselves a good old-fashioned desert showdown. No sense poking around. Let's get right to it. 2 minutes on the clock. Let's give him some spins for good luck. And he's off.
That, man.
Straight.
To your right, to your right. Good, good. To your left, Mark, to your left.
Oh, God, straight.
Yep, straight ahead. Oh, watch out for that one by your leg. Back up just a little bit and then go straight. There you go.
Oh, I can't see a thing.
There we go. We got a little bit of a clearing
Time
here.
check, time check.
You got about 1:30. Watch your chin.
Which way?
Oh, man. Back up, back up, back up.
Oh.
Okay, Mark, we gotta keep going. To your right, to your right.
Right?
To your right.
What is that? That's not another one, is it?
No. Straight ahead. Yep, side step. Step with your left leg forward. Yeah, just go straight, Mark. Just go straight.
Oh my gosh, how far am I?
Halfway through, Mark. Come on. Don't get too close to those. Keep shuffling.
God.
There you go.
My leg's seizing up, man.
Well, we're in between two very sharp plants. So what we need to do, yep. You just turned yourself perfect.
Okay.
Go forward. There's a bush right below you, though. Step over that with your left leg. There you go.
Am I doing the right thing? I can't.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to feel for bushes with my feet.
Shuffle. There you go.
Am I close?
You're close. We got about 30 seconds, though. We got to make it.
I'm like terrified to finish this, Corey. Help me.
All right, this part's tight.
Dude, I'm stuck. I'm freaking stuck.
Ooh, he's gonna feel that one for a while. Let's slow that down real nice like and see an instant replay.
just have to move forward. You're right there. It's right in front of you.
Oh, I feel the table. Got the cake. Yes! Victory!
Oh, dude, you made it with like 2 seconds to spare.
All right. I need you guys to remove the goggles because I'm like, I can't move right now. Corey, I'm gonna need your help. How bad is it? How bad is it?
It's bad, dude.
Oh, oh my goodness.
Was it worth it, man? Take a bite.
Let me see.
Made it this far.
Oh, it makes it better. That certainly makes it better. Oh yeah, that's good cake. Okay. We gotta get these out. All right, I really need the stuff off the back.
I'm just gonna keep going, man. Ready?
Okay. Oh!
Heartaches, heartbreak, heartbroken. Over love you.
All right, keep going, man.
Had you ever thought of starting over? Starting
1, 2, 3.
from the bottom again.
Yep, that was the worst one. Tell you guys what, I'm so happy I wore a cup. Okay, so here we go. Now, as you can see, I only have the choya left that are on the front side of my body. And this is the point of the video where I would like to attempt to show you how, if this happens to you, hopefully it doesn't, but if it does, how to properly remove these choya with the least amount of pain possible. The number one thing you want to avoid doing, this is like rule number one with choya, you never, ever, under any circumstances, try to remove choya with your hands. Even if you have gloves on, as you can see, these things go through boots, they go through fabric. So don't use your hands, you want to use a tool. Now, what tool should you use? Well, I'm glad you asked. Corey, my comb, please. Thank you, sir. No, I'm just kidding. It's not for my hair, but one of the best tools for removing the choya is a large tooth comb, just like this. Work the teeth under the spines until you grab the choya. You could kind of see I've got the fruit pulling up now. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Whew. Okay, that's one. Ooh, this one's gonna hurt. Oh, yeah! Yes! Yes, sir, that hurts. Okay, so the comb, it does the trick. But let's be honest, if you're out here hiking the Sonoran Desert, pretty good chance you don't have a large tooth comb in your kit. But what you might have is something like this. The Brave Wilderness team never leaves home without a good multi-tool, and I highly recommend you do the same. So you want to open 2 points of contact, just like the comb, wiggle it in there. See how I have good purchase? Ah, that hurts. 1, 2, 3. Ga! Ga! Velvet cake, velvet cake, velvet cake. Okay, I think I need to get this one off. This is a good opportunity for me to show you yet another technique. Corey, sticks please. Thank you, sir. Now, if you can't find any sticks, just look harder, because you definitely don't want to use your hands, like I said before. What you want to do is take the sticks, work them underneath, get purchase, and then same as the other ones. 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah, just like that. But I gotta be honest with you, I much prefer the multi-tool, so I'm going back. Okay, this is gonna be a good one. And the final, choya. I hope you've enjoyed learning about the Sonoran Desert and all of its spiky inhabitants and how to remove the pesky choya should you ever have an encounter of your own. I'm Mark Vins. Be brave, stay wild. We'll see you on the next challenge. Ready, guys? 1, 2, 3. Ah!
Oh, yes. That cake was worth every single spine. And speaking of our spiky little friends that joined me on today's adventure, we actually did them a big favor by helping these choya complete their journey across the desert. Grow strong, little ones. And if you enjoyed this challenge, make sure to head over to the Mark Vins channel and check out my experiment to prove, once and for all, who is the spikiest cactus in the West.
Ow!
I'm just gonna say it right now. It only gets spikier from here. Waves crash as water rolls onto a preserved expanse of coral reef. The brilliant blues and white caps, a signature of the vibrant ecosystem thriving below. With this tropical landscape in front of us and the wind to our backs, the crew and I set course for our next ocean adventure. Welcome to Grand Cayman Island. This 22-mile stretch of land, located in the Caribbean Sea just south of Cuba, is home to lush beaches, crystal clear waters, and an abundance of marine life. In fact, Grand Cayman is one of the most iconic locations in the tropics to experience up-close encounters with some of the world's most renowned aquatic creatures. And today, that's exactly what we plan to do.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Mark Vins, and welcome back to another special adventure brought to you by our friends at B&H Photo. And today, we are just off the coast of Grand Cayman Island at the world-famous Stingray City Sandbar. This site has drawn people from all over the globe to get up close and personal with, you might have guessed it, giant southern stingrays. And these rays are absolutely huge. We can already see them off the sides of the boat in the water, and they are here in masses. So today, we actually are going to be testing out the brand new GoPro Hero 8. This will be the first time we've ever used this camera, and we're super excited about it because we use GoPros for just about every video we've ever made. Honestly, some of the best shots that exist on the channel were captured on a little camera just like this one. Except this one is brand new and is packed with all kinds of new features that we're excited to test out. All right, Chan, so are we having calamari for lunch?
If you would like it, we can. I think we're going to give it to all those stingrays out there, though.
1 pound of calamari, that's what we're allowed to have out here, is going to be what we're going to use to attract in the stingrays that are here at the sandbar at Stingray City.
The proper way to feed a stingray, hold it in your hand just like this. You're going to guide it. They're going to bring their nose right up to it as they hunt by smell. You're going to open your hand nice and flat, and that suction is going to suck it right up.
Is there a chance you can get bit feeding stingrays?
There is a chance you can get bit, but they just have a couple plates.
So mashers?
That's exactly right. So they're very, very powerful.
The stingrays here are habituated for this activity. It's not something you want to just go do at your local dive site or at your local beach. But if you do want to get close to stingrays, this is the place to do it. We have our pound of squid cut, and now we're ready to go out there at the sandbar and have some fun. Okay, let's get our wetsuits on.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Now, one thing I want to mention about the site is that we need to go barefoot, so I'm going to take my wet boots off because we want to be able to feel around the sand with our toes, and that's the best way to keep from stepping on a stingray. We want to do a stingray shuffle as we make our way to the sandbar, because one of the best ways to get stung out here is to step on one. We don't want that to happen today. All right, I think it's time to put on our mask and get out there with the stingrays. You guys ready? I'm ready. All right, let's go.
Upon entering the warm Caribbean water, the crew and I were immediately greeted by several stingray. I could already feel them brushing our feet as we made our way to the shallows of the sandbar.
Oh my goodness, here they come. The food has arrived, and so have the rays. Oh man.
I definitely made sure to shuffle my feet. One wrong step here could quickly end this adventure and send me straight to the hospital. As soon as our boat arrived, the stingray had their eyes on us. They knew we would be giving them some tasty squid that we were cutting back on the boat. As I mentioned, these stingrays are habituated to humans from decades of fishermen gathering in these calm waters to clean their daily catches. After cleaning their fish, they would then toss the remains and old bait overboard, and the stingray and other marine life caught on to this and began associating boats and humans with an easy meal, which subsequently created this iconic location known as Stingray City Sandbar.
Got my first piece of food. Let's see if we can get her ready to come eat. Oh my goodness. Wow. They are hungry, that is for sure.
As they continued to swarm the crew and I had to keep reminding myself to shuffle my feet, which is harder than it sounds when you're being pushed around by waves and almost tackled by hungry stingray.
Whoa! Almost got my fingers in there, that was a close one.
And even though we were completely surrounded, they are actually very gentle creatures. They're just hungry and looking for food. They actually like to be pet right under the nose, kind of like a puppy. And if you put your closed fist with a little bit of squid in it right underneath them, the stingray will actually follow your hand around. To the touch, stingrays feel extremely soft, and their skin is actually slick, not at all rough like most sharks.
Oh, here we go. Whoa, you see that?
Since the stingrays had settled down a bit, I decided it was time to try something new, something that I had never done before. Hold a stingray.
I have a good feeling about this piece of squid. This is gonna get the stingray we're after.
But I quickly learned that was much easier said than done.
I like that stingray. That one's my friend.
This light gray stingray is actually a female. I've noticed her swimming around us the entire time. And it seems that because she's the most docile, she would be the best candidate to try to hold. All right, here goes nothing. Attempt number 1. Nope. All right, here goes number 2. Not even close. All right, number 3. Nope. Okay, clearly this was just as difficult as I'd expected. Although, I'm not really sure what I expected at all. Holding a stingray isn't really something you normally want to do. But, then of course, as luck would have it, it finally happened.
That's the only stingray. It's happened. Look at this. This will be the official stingray of Blue Wilderness. This very gentle giant of the ocean. Should your neighbor? We'll name that one Jenny. And released! I did it! High five! Woo! All right, I think I'm gonna take a break from holding stingrays and just stick with getting footage. Take my GoPro back and let's just have some fun. You having fun, Corey? I'm having fun. All right, awesome. That's what it's all about today. We're out here having fun with stingrays and the new GoPro Hero 8.
The Hero 8 is the latest in the line of GoPro cameras, and it features some standout upgrades from its predecessor, including a total body redesign with built-in mounting capabilities, and a new side door for quick access to battery and media so you don't miss a second of the action. And then lastly, there's the brand new Hyper Smooth 2.0 for ultra-stabilized footage, which I have to say, I'm particularly excited about. And of course, before we left, my new friend Jenny stopped by for one more visit. You know, just to say goodbye.
Can you imagine being able to get close to one of these stingrays? This is something I feel like everybody who loves the ocean needs to come and do someday. Wow. What a gentle marine creature. Who would have thought Southern Atlantic stingrays and human beings coexisting out here like this? So crazy. All right, it's getting late in the day. We got to pack up and head home. Woo!
All right, here we are. We've finally made it to Stingray City, just about 35 minutes off the coast of Grand Cayman. And I, for one, am super excited to go diving with these rays today because these have become one of the most talked about marine creatures in the past decade due to the numerous reports of people being stung or speared by their barbs. So let's take a closer look at this barb. And this is a big one. This is a cast of a stingray barb, an exact replica. And as you can tell, not only is it like a dagger, but it also has serrated edges. So when the barb punctures anything that it's stabbing, it actually does a lot of tissue damage on the way out. And we're talking the potential of multiple stings when a stingray attacks. It raises its tail in the air and then jabs upwards. So we have to be especially careful today when we're in the water with these marine creatures. And to add insult to injury, there's also a venom gland at the base of the barb. So not only are you gonna get stabbed, you're also going to get envenomated. Okay, now before we get in the water, we do want to have a quick safety briefing with the crew and find out just how we're going to get these stingrays up close today in the safest way possible. Let's go check it out. So, by the looks of this, Chan, these stingray love squid.
No, they absolutely love squid. They'll eat it right up.
Why are these stingrays okay being around humans?
So years ago, the fishermen in Grand Cayman would come here after their catch and clean their fish.
Okay.
And as they clean their fish, they're gonna just throw all the guts over here. And then rays started coming in. And from what I've heard, a lot of the locals, because they didn't really get in the water back then, they thought that they were actually sharks. They came in and told some of the dive shops on the island, and some divers came out here and discovered there were giant southern Atlantic stingrays.
So that's important for everyone to realize at home. This is a very special situation that we're going to be experiencing today. This is a marine interactive zone. You would never want to engage with a wild stingray, or any wild animal for that matter, if you weren't absolutely certain that it was safe to do. Show me how we're going to pass the food.
I'm gonna place it in your palm.
And then you want to close your hand really fast.
Close your hand really fast.
Because if I do this, what's going to happen?
Those fish are gonna come and take that really quick.
Boom, and
Yep.
potentially take a piece of me with them.
Yep, just a little nip.
Okay, that's not what we want to happen. Now, the rest of this stuff, this is what we're putting in our BCs, right?
That's right.
And by our BCs, probably mean my BC.
We mean your BC, yes.
Great. I think that about does it, Shan. I think I'm ready to get down there and interact with these rays. So we're gonna get suited up and I'll meet you at the dive platform.
Sounds great.
All right, let's do it. There's the attractant right there, down the hatch. We're ready to go. The time is finally here. We're about to get in the water with the stingrays of Stingray City. Let's go. Warm Caribbean water is always a welcomed luxury when diving in this region. But as I regained my bearings, I quickly spotted a pesky barracuda looking for a free meal. I would need to keep my eye on this squid thief. The last thing I want is to have my hand chomped by its snarled fangs for a tiny piece of bait. Luckily, most of the fish here that have teeth mainly hunt by sight, so as long as there was nothing for them to target, my hands should be just fine. To my surprise, the rays were already descending upon us as we attempted to set our gear and ready ourselves for the encounters. No dinner bells required here at Stingray City, that is for sure. There were 2 large females and 1 smaller male. As we were warned by the crew, the males tend to be more aggressive and a little bitey, so I'm going to have to keep that in mind when feeding the larger rays. The little male could come and strike out of nowhere. Whoa, these rays do not mess around. They clearly can smell the squid without any trouble. And man, are they quick on the take. All right, let me focus here and attempt this a few more times. As you can see, southern Atlantic stingray have flattened bodies composed of pectoral fins, which are joined at their head and trunk to form a diamond-shaped disc, followed by their infamous tail. Their color varies from dark brown, gray, or black on the upper side to white on the lower side. This combination acts as a camouflage to help the stingray blend in with its environment, as they like to burrow in the sand to rest while hiding from predators. Their primary predator being the hammerhead shark. Remember that dive? Female southern stingray tend to grow much larger than males. The average female grows to about 6 feet in length, while the average male is around 2.5 feet, which is obviously much smaller, as you can see here. Okay, let's try to feed the male. Maybe a little bit of squid will keep him occupied for a while. He's getting a little too riled up for my liking. Ah! He almost bit me! Man, their mouth plates do not feel good. I can feel them scrape my knuckles right there. Alright, I won't be making that mistake twice. Stingray hunt by using electroreception along with a strong sense of smell and touch. Their diet will typically consist of small fish,
worms, and crustaceans. Since a lot of the stingray's prey is often buried in the sand, they will either flap their fins over an area or utilize a really cool technique where they will force water streams from their mouths to reveal the prey, and then slurp them up into their mouths to be mashed by their powerful plates, cracking and smashing any hard shells in the process. Now that's pretty cool if you ask me. I just don't want it to happen to one of my fingers. Another cool fact is these stingray have 2 eyes that sit atop their head, and right behind them you'll notice 2 openings that are called spiracles. These allow the stingray to breathe by taking in oxygenated water from above and expelling it through their gills on their underside. This is a great way to not breathe in sand or other debris from the ocean floor while they're hunting. Okay, now to the business end. Southern Atlantic stingray have a whip-like tail, which, as we mentioned earlier, wields a deadly defense known as a barb. Stingrays are typically docile creatures and only use their barbs as a method of self-defense. So the only way for me to get stung right now is to startle a ray from above or unintentionally step on one. And yes, those barbs will go right through my fins. So I definitely need to be careful, especially down here on the ocean floor. Alright, that's all the squid. Time to head back to the boat. I can't believe it. That was so cool.
We're starting our dive at dusk and will be focused on the seabed in front of us. This is typically when the most interesting creatures are active. And right away, there's a lionfish. These fish are down here hunting right now, and those spines on its back are covered in a potent neurotoxin that can cause excruciating pain and even paralysis in anything it touches. These waters are absolutely filled with them, as well as their cousin, the scorpionfish. So anytime I make contact with the ocean floor, I'll be checking to make sure that I don't land on anything I'm not supposed to. Now, I've seen a lot of bizarre and nightmarish looking creatures before. I've been bitten by bloodworms, burned by a fireworm, and even stung by the infamous man-o-worm. But nothing makes my skin crawl quite like the bobbit worm. These elusive predators have built up a serious reputation over the years and even inspired monsters in movies like the ones in Dune and Tremors, both featuring killer sandworms that live underground that burst through the desert sand with their powerful jaws to attack and kill their prey. Those worms are science fiction. The bobbit worm you are about to see feed in the night is very real. Now, at this point in the dive, I had no idea I was going to find any bobbit worms, but these are the events as they unfolded, leading to that very moment. What we have here is a school of catfish. They use a very interesting schooling technique where they actually cascade over each other like a waterfall. They do this to take turns so they can stop and feed, but there's always another catfish to replace the front line. Grouping together like this helps ward off predators and makes the school of catfish appear like a much larger fish. All right, time to move on. Oh wow, look at that. I have never seen one of these nudibranch before. This one is actually called a bubble shell. It gets its name because of that shell right there at the center of its body. Now, these shells are different to the ones on a typical snail. They are thin, fragile, and too small to fit the entire animal inside. But it is absolutely stunning in coloration. Look at those bright blue edges. It almost glows out here in the darkness. Very cool. On night dives like this, you really never know what you're going to find. It's a very alien-like environment, and when you're out here in the muck, it almost appears like the lunar surface. And here is another really bizarre and unique creature. This is a cuttlefish. Related to the octopus, these sea creatures are super intelligent. In fact, some scientists believe they're more intelligent than their 8-armed cousins. Let's carefully swim up for a closer look. What's really unique about these creatures at first sight is how they change their coloration almost instantaneously. Oh, look at this, it's moving into hunt. Oh, it almost got that fish. That fish was so lucky. Oh. The cuttlefish is turning right toward me. Look at that coloration change. Now, some scientists believe not only did they change their coloration as a camouflage technique, but they can actually communicate through the change in color and pattern in their skin. I wonder if it's trying to tell me something. Clearly it knows that I'm no longer a threat. It's hanging out. Let me just put my hand out right. Guys, this is too cool. This cuttlefish is so comfortable with us that it's letting me almost use my hand as a perch. Now, make no mistake, these cuttlefish are super fast and they could swim away in a split second if it wanted to. And it's likely just as curious about me as I am about it. Holy cow. I'm almost at a loss for words. All right, let's grab our dive rig and keep adventuring into the night. Wow. That's a pair of moray eels. This is one of the animals that divers need to be especially careful around because they are super territorial and they also have razor sharp teeth. If you stick your hand in the wrong place down here, you can take a pretty aggressive chomp from one of these large eels. And the biggest problem is once they bite, they don't let go. They can even spin into a death roll similar to a crocodile. We're gonna leave those two alone and keep moving forward. Now that is a porcupine fish, and a super colorful one at that. A lot of the porcupine fish that I'm used to seeing are more brown and gray in coloration. This one is more of a reddish maroon. And oh, I found something so cool. Guys, check this out. This is a bobtail squid. I've always wanted to see one of these. Now these bobtail squid really look like a little octopus because of their super long tentacles. They're almost the in-between between a cuttlefish and an octopus, but these bobtail squid are also super intelligent and extremely charismatic. It's trying to bury itself beneath the sand to hide away from our cameras. I see you. Look at it using its little arms to cover itself with sand and sediment to try to blend in. You can still see its little siphon is uncovered there. Wow. Whoa. Look out for those. Those are scorpion fish, and they are venomous. Related to the stonefish, these scorpion fish have venomous spines on the dorsal and pectoral fins. And if you accidentally brush into them, they can give you a really nasty sting. I know all too well just how it feels because I once took a sting from the scorpion fish
And I've tested
myself.
the sting of a man-o-war.
Ah, man, that one nailed me. What is that? That's a bobbit worm. Oh my gosh. We gotta get in for a closer look. Those mandibles, look at those jaws, they are huge. If that's not a sci-fi monster, I don't know what is. And look at its skin. It's iridescent. It almost has a rainbow shimmer to it. And you could see its serrated jaws open and ready to clasp onto any would-be victim that crosses its path. And do you see those little antennae right by the jaws? Those are sensory organs, sensing the chemicals and vibrations in the water so it can detect prey and launch out for an attack. And with a body length of up to 10 feet, there's a lot more to this worm than meets the eye. And using all that friction that it has from that long burrow, it possesses incredible strength and can take down large fish as prey in a split second. Let's see if we can get the bobbit worm to snap its jaws for the cameras. Whoa! Oh my goodness. Wow. Now not only are those jaws serrated, but the bristles along its body are actually venomous. And the bobbit worm uses them as a defense mechanism. So it's not just the jaws you have to worry about. Oh no! The little porcupine fish followed us over. It must be attracted to the dive lights. That porcupine fish is very lucky to have escaped the bobbit worm. But that was pretty interesting to see it use its defense mechanism to puff up like that and to be successful with it. Whew, that got my heart racing. Let's wait here for a second to see if this bobbit worm can find any other prey. Look who showed up. The scorpion fish is coming to take a look. I wonder if the scorpion fish thinks this bobbit worm could be food. It certainly is creeping in really slow. Let's hang here for a second to see what happens. I cannot believe what we just saw. I think we're gonna need to see that one more time, but this time we're gonna slow it down. You can really see how the bobbit worm inspired the movies Dune and Tremors. Look at the sand bubbling. I can only imagine what's happening down there below the surface. That might be the most disturbing thing I have ever seen on any dive I've ever been on. Wow. Scientists are still uncovering the mysteries of this notorious creature, not only seeking to understand its behavior, but also its role in the environment. But one thing is for certain, these creatures are absolutely terrifying. All right, I think that'll do it for this night dive. Tell me in the comments section what you thought about the bobbit worm. I'm Mark Vins, and I'll see you on the next adventure.
If you enjoyed that episode, make sure to search for the Brave Wilderness channel on YouTube so you can join me and the crew on our upcoming adventures.